Romshinators, 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 it is so good to be back speaking with you once again. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are talking about a literary classic. Yes, we are talking about Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis. For those 90s kids out there, you might remember that this book was adapted into a film which was an integral part of our childhood. The film was called A Bug's Life. And they really did take some liberties with the source material, which I recently found out when I was on a road trip and I saw the book on Spotify for free, so I listened to it thinking I was going to get a literary version of A Bug's Life, the movie I grew up loving. Turns out the folks at Disney, they really took their liberties with it. I didn't know that they were allowed to do that. But I certainly hope Franz Kafka's estate got some coinage because they shit all over it. The book is nothing like the movie. In fact, the book is a little bit depressing. I haven't done any research on this Franz Kafka guy. My mom used to have a collection of his works in her home library, and by that I mean the one bookshelf in the house with the books that she never touched since college. But I never had the courage to read it because I always had the movies, like A Bug's Life, and I'm sure a few other movies were based off of Kafka stuff. So I never thought to read it, but recently listening to it and really getting down to the source material of where that childhood favorite of mine is from, it made me think a lot about society, our place in society, and how society shapes us, transforms us, and eventually discards us. It's really evil when you start to think about it, when you start to think about how they just fucking manipulate you and they hit you in the head every time you try to escape your little fucking box. It begins with our main character, Gregor. He wakes up in bed and he can't get out. He can't get out and go to work. He's a traveling salesman whose one income supports the entirety of his family. Mom, dad, sister. They even have maids that come to the house. Can you believe it? Could you imagine? He's a model citizen, a model employee, yet he can't get out of bed because he is in fact a bug. Yes, he is transformed into a bug. His little bug arms cannot lift him out of the bed. He can't roll out of the bed. Half the book is him just trying to roll out of bed in the morning. He keeps rolling, but he just can't get up. This book is pregnant with meaning, pregnant with heavy-handed symbolism. And I've done no research on what this symbolism meant because that's not what books are about. I can tell by reading it, I'm not an idiot. It's about when you hate your fucking job. It's about when you wake up, you look yourself in the mirror, and you can't recognize the motherfucker staring back at you. Finally, he gets out of bed. He goes down to see his family in the kitchen, and they're horrified at what he's become. And in his 5 years of service as a door-to-door salesman, he has never called in once. He has never been sick. He has never had an emergency. So obviously, his boss thinks to come check on him. How's my little worker boy doing? Aren't you supposed to be out there making money for me? That's what his boss is thinking when he comes to his house. Where's Gregor? Isn't he supposed to be out there earning money for me? Traveling around like a little bug, doing what I tell him to do, scurrying around, taking the crumbs that I leave him. And the boss shows up at his house and Gregor begins to grovel and beg for his job back. He says, "Sir, please, this is just a temporary issue. Please, I've never called in sick. I've never done anything wrong. Please defend me in the office. Please tell everybody what's happened and that I'm going to get better soon." And he starts pleading for his job, but his boss just won't listen. His boss just looks at him horrified and slowly backs out and leaves and abandons Gregor. His boss casts him aside as soon as he's not useful, as soon as he becomes a bug and not a man. In fact, his boss is horrified at the creature that Gregor has become. Wow, imagine that. Eventually, Gregor is cast into his room. He cannot leave his room, and he begins to hide under the bed, and his sister brings him food, and all he can eat is rotting garbage. That's all that tastes good to him, rotting shit from the trash pile. She tries to bring him normal food that he would like, but it tastes gross to him now. And slowly they begin to see him as not a part of their family, but just a disgusting insect, and they start to remove his stuff from the room. They start to take away his paintings, his furniture. All they leave is the couch that he hides under so that they don't have to see him. Sad. This is so much more depressing than the movie. Do you remember A Bug's Life? This might actually ruin A Bug's Life for you. If you were a fan of that movie growing up, don't read the book. This is the one time where I think the movie might actually be better. Because as a happy ending, I have a feeling this Franz Kafka guy was kind of depressed. I don't think he liked this whole human situation as much as some of us. As much as maybe the people that adapted his book for the screen did. I think they kind of made it go in a more positive direction. Because as Gregor tries to contend with what's happening to him, he gets in a confrontation with his father, and his father whips an apple at him, and the apple gets stuck in Gregor's back. And it begins to fester. A wound forms and it gets infected, and it's disgusting, and it begins to have all this white shit around it. It describes it. It's so gross. And no one in his family will fix the wound. Nobody will take the apple out. Nobody will clean the wound because they're scared to get close of him. They're scared of what he's become. And essentially, at the end of the book, they just let him die, and they move on with their lives. And that's not at all how A Bug's Life ended. A Bug's Life is totally different. So I don't even know how they can say it was based off that book. I get it that he wakes up as a bug, so now he's living a bug's life. So I understand how they got the title, but what I don't understand is how they completely changed the story and the message. Because A Bug's Life was kind of about teamwork, overcoming adversity, and the power of friendship, whereas the Franz Kafka book is more about how society uses you up until you transform into a disgusting, unrecognizable monster, and then when you're no use to them, it just kicks you aside and lets you die on the street. That was the message I got from the book. Because I've seen this sort of thing in real life, and I've seen it in myself. You know, we start off young, we go to school, we wake up really early, we get to class, the teachers tell us what to do, a bell orders us around. If we step out of line, we are quickly smacked back into place. If we step out of line even a little bit when we get home. When we get home, we have to do schoolwork too. It never ends. They say go to school, get a good job. That's just what Gregor did. He became a traveling salesman and provided for his family. He knew that the gun was at his head. He knew that if he showed up late for work, if he fucked around, if he tried to do his own thing, he might not be able to support his family. So he did whatever he had to do to make sure that that didn't happen. And I've seen this happen to people, especially my elders, people I've known for 30 years, my whole life. I've seen them become transformed. You see videos of them when they were young, full of hope, full of power, full of beauty and strength and dreams and hopes. And you see how the years of hard work and responsibility just suck it out of them and leave them as a husk, wondering who they were, where did it all go? They fell in line long ago. And one day they woke up unrecognizable. They woke up as Franz Kafka's bug. And they were living a bug's life. And that is depressing. The book is depressing. I mean, I don't think we have to take the book and just accept it, because I feel like even though some of us are transformed by the troubles and adversities of our lives, you know, we can't escape that. We can't escape the trauma and the trials and the tribulations of life. But what we can do is day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, defend ourselves from society, defend ourselves from the pressure, set boundaries with our employer, set boundaries with our fellow man so that we can harvest and maintain that sense of inner peace and that sense of who we are, our creativity, our passion, our love, our joy, our spark for life. By taking time every single night, even 10, 15 minutes, even on your train ride, your bus ride, however you get to work, in the car, writing something, reading something, listening to something that you love, keeping that spark alive, finding some sort of hobby to do, taking care of your body, you know. I've seen many people's bodies be transformed by the harsh nature of work. You're sitting at an office all day, becoming sedentary, eating garbage food out of the vending machine, eating takeout food, not getting enough exercise, and your body begins to wither away, and you undergo a metamorphosis. On the other end of the spectrum, you work some sort of hard labor job, walking around all day, your knees hurt, your elbows hurt, your back gets all fucked up, and you again are transformed. This is just a part of life. But is there no way we can take back the power? Is there no way we can do what's right for us? We can do some stretches, we can try to eat right, we can try to stay healthy, stay creative, not become a bug, not have to live a bug's life. Because that's what society wants. What is a bug? Emotionless, cold, uncaring. A worker drone, a worker bee, that's why they call them that. Get back in the hive, do as you're told, fall in line. You're not a bug, you're a human goddamn being. Bam is right. You're a human goddamn being, and don't you forget it. And a bug's life is a cautionary tale. Because if we choose to dive ourselves fully into society, fully into our jobs, fully into our responsibilities, and don't take time to nurture that flame within, we will become unrecognizable, we will become monstrous, and we will not be able to face ourselves or our family. And when our dad throws an apple in our back, we'll probably die. And you know what? If you gave up on something 10 years ago and you try to revisit it, and you say, oh, I used to play the steel drum 10 years ago, and that's when I felt really locked in. I felt really in tune with myself then. And you pick up the steel drum today and you find there's no spark left, and you start to get depressed. I want you to understand that maybe your spark lives somewhere else now. That's in the past. Because I find that happens. When we let go of our dreams, when we let go of who we are, we try to go backwards instead of going forwards. Oh, I was a football player. Oh, I was an actor 10 years ago. I'm trying to pick it back up and it's just not the same. Maybe there's another passion out there. Don't try to go back to who you were. Let's try to reach forward at who we could be. You know, my grandfather gave me a great piece of advice once after a breakup. He said that life is kind of like driving a car. You got to look out the windshield. You got to look at the road ahead. You can't look too much in the rearview mirror. Once in a while you can, just to see if someone's riding your ass. But you got to keep your eyes on the road or you're going to crash. Bam. And this is the same when it comes to taking back ourselves from the world. You know, the world's constantly trying to claw at us, constantly trying to get us to conform, get us to do what it wants us to do. It doesn't care about us. It wants to squeeze you dry and transform you into a fucking bug and then stick a fucking apple in your back and watch you die. Doesn't matter. You gotta fight for that spark inside you to stay alive. Because no one else is gonna fight for you. And when they see it, when they see that spark burning out of your chest, and they see that creativity flowing through your eyes and that beautiful manifestation power, that electricity shooting out of the top of your head into the stratosphere, when they see the 15 arms reaching out around you, all just putting things in its place, all just making your dreams happen, when they see that, they're gonna get inspired and they're gonna wonder if they can do it too. And then you're gonna create a ripple, tidal wave of all these bugs turning back into human beings, because if we can metamorphosize into a bug, we can take that bug and metamorphosize it back into a human, and that's the sequel, a human's life. A human's life is full of creativity, it's full of wonder, it's full of love, sex, passion, decisions, thumbs, inventions, driving a car, going surfing. There's lots you can do. You can go and stay in a hotel. You can buy a bag. You can put stuff in the bag. You can go to the store. I got lots of bags. You can go for a trip around the world in a hot air balloon. All these things bugs cannot do. All bugs do is scurry around, stick with the hive, fight for crumbs, and they stab each other and ejaculate into each other's bodies. They don't even have sex the way that we think of it. It's totally different for a bug. We shouldn't be living a bug's life at all. And the Disney movie A Bug's Life has almost nothing to do with that as well, which is also confusing. Because in the movie A Bug's Life, those bugs actually are compassionate. They're more like humans. It's more about bugs living the way humans do in a sense. Whereas the book is more about a human living, kind of being forced to live as a bug. It's very confusing how the two, I don't get how they say that The Bug's Life is based off of the Franz Kafka book. I don't get it. But thank you so much for watching. I mean, I really had to get this one off my chest because it's so important to recognize that we're not bugs. We're human beings, man. And if you've made it this far, I would like you to comment down below, I'm not a bug. Or if you feel like you are a bug, comment, I'm a bug. Or if you want, leave me a comment about your favorite bug, because I would love to read those. What's your favorite bug, one fun fact, and whether you are or are not a bug. Thank you very much, Romshinators. Peace be with you.